Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. The Gremlins are starting out today. Well, we gonna win. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we're diving into a very bold statement by rapper and entrepreneur David Banner, where he shares that he doesn't do business with people who cheat on their wives. Now, this raises important questions about loyalty, ethics, and trust, both in relationships and in business. So can someone's personal life truly
do business with men that cheat on their wives?
Their personal success, their professional success? And how does loyalty play a role in the business world? We are definitely going to talk about this. I have a beautiful royal court today. We have Marlo Layson, TV and film producer, and we have Melissa B, thought leader and victim service advocate. And of course, y'all, me, Lala. I'm an international real estate agent and vocalist. Hey, now listen, our topic is David Banner won't do business with men who cheat on their wives. From that very simple statement, I would like to hear everybody's initial thoughts. And this is not just, we don't just talk at you on this show. We talk with you. So I truly want to hear what our family audience is thinking about this too. What's your initial thoughts? Marlo, what is your initial thought with just that title right there? Would you do business with men who cheat on their wives?
I probably do. I don't know everybody that you do business with. You don't know them as intimately as that. But I think that it is a good indicator, right? I think I have my director at work says, how you do everything is how you do anything. And I was having a conversation with a friend and she had heard that from someone else as well. So I think that, integrity is what you do when nobody's looking, right? And so if you don't have good integrity, if you are not loyal to the person that is sleeping next to you, like that's the analogy that David Banner gave, how can you be expected to be loyal in business? So I think I do agree with that.
All right. How about you, Melissa? What's your initial thoughts on that?
I love to hear that, especially coming from a Black man, because I feel like Black men can get bad reps of not being faithful and not being morally sound when it comes to entertaining that kind of stuff. So to hear that he have those kind of boundaries for himself, it's good because it'll make people that want to work with him or be in his inner circle think twice about either openly disrespecting their wives or just, doing right by their partner. So I like it.
Me personally, I know some people are asking, some of the audiences, how do you know that? Well, it's very obvious. If someone doesn't care and they're letting you know they have a side piece, then to me, I am side eyeing you, because now you are also asking me to lie. Because if you bring your partner or your spouse around me, now I'm supposed to be in on this big lie that you have, and I can't trust you. If I can't trust you with simple things, especially something as big as being married, then I'm not so sure I'm going to trust you with my business. Now, what people do in the shadows, we cannot control. We can't control what we don't know. But I think the big deal is if you know, you actually kind of know the principles of that person and how they're going to stand on their business. Eiley says, I'm the same way. Don't bring it around me. Like I don't want to be a part of someone's lie or someone's hurt. And that's just as simple as that. But let's actually hear what he has to say. And let's get back into this conversation.
He said, I don't do business with men that cheat on their wives. And I say, huh? He said, if the person that you sleep with can't trust you, I damn sure can't. Mm. And I never thought about that. My mentor taught me something, bro. I'm serious, bro. I never thought about this in my life, bro.
That was a big epiphany. You can tell that even as he's telling the story, that this was a really huge epiphany. So, Marlo, do you think that personal ethics should play a role in your professional relationship?
I don't think you can separate the two. I think who you are is who you are, right? If you do dirty business, if you cut corners, if you cheat, if you tell a white lie, if you cook your books, like whatever the case may be, that's how you move in life, right? It really is just about who you are as a person. And it really is, the more I think about it, it really is a showing of character, right? You saying you're doing business with me on the up and up, and then when we go and have this dinner, I know you're married to this person, but you bring this other person. Or we go meet at a club afterwards, after dinner, you send your wife home, and then you have this other person, right? So how do I know when my back is turned? You're not doing deals behind my back. And so I think that this is something that everybody should kind of ponder, right? As we talk about entrepreneurship, as we talk about a lot of crowdsourcing and people investing money together and Black people coming together to invest their money, this is a character issue that we need to be looking at. This is how people get duped out of their money, because you're doing business and you're saying, oh, well, that's his personal life. I can separate his personal life from who he is as a businessman. He the same person.
As we can tell about who's in the White House right now. Oops, did I say that? Oops, Diddy's on trial. Oops. Okay, I mean this goes back to things that we are actually seeing in the news today. So Priscilla says it says a lot about his own personal character. Says he's selective and cautious. And Alan has a different take. He said that's why he be living in his van. It's stupid people lie every day, all day. Work has no feelings. Oh, Melissa, I saw your face on that comment. I want to hear what you got to say.
So, as we all already said, that's not true because your character will show up eventually in everything, consciously or subconsciously. You cannot separate the two. You just can't. So, and then again, as Black people in the Black community, it's a good thing that we are being conscious of that, being conscious of the fact that no, we can't tolerate that. It hurts the family, it hurts our integrity with how we show up in personal and in business. So no, what is done in the dark, right? Like how grandma say, it will always be brought to light one way or another. So yeah.
I agree with you that with that. But listen, let's play the devil's advocate a little bit. All right, let's play that devil's advocate. Can you truly separate someone's personal life from their business dealings? Why for you or why not? I'm going to ask you that, Marlo.
Without getting too deep into personal details, I currently work with somebody who is not a great decision maker, right? Like it constantly, this person makes poor decisions, poor decisions, poor decisions. This particular person cannot make a decision without consulting his wife. So she's ill advising him, right? So both of them to me are, poor decision makers, right? But the fact that you are in a professional space and you always need, it's almost like a security blanket, right? So I think that this notion that people are not who they are, you're a different person, you show up as a different person in business than you do in real life, It's just not true, right? You look around, think about the people you work with every day, think about your colleagues, think about people that you've been in a business deal and then you were like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't go all the way through with that because look at this fool over here. It happens all the time. And I think people just need to examine who they have around them. And it's okay to cut ties with people that don't serve you. It's okay to cut ties with people who don't move the way that you move. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to dislike them. But it's okay to keep people around you that keep you in your center and keep you moving how you need to move. Especially if you feel like you're a person that moves with some level of integrity. I'm not even talking about high integrity. I'm talking about just like a person who is considering multiple factors before you make a decision.
I
Be
think we
good.
have to. I always say just be a good human. What's so hard about that? Well, it appears to be very hard for a lot of people, but I got some very interesting stories to tell you about this in my real estate world. But we're gonna take a quick break, and we are gonna dive back into this, and we're also gonna look at the other side of the coin. So we'll be right back.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
That's what we do around here. So make sure that you do all of those things. But listen, we got a couple of comments that seem to be very insistent on that we're only talking about men. The title says men because David Banner said that he would not do business with men who cheat on their wives. But listen, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Or is it? Melissa, do you feel like it should be any different for women who cheat on their husbands?
Absolutely not. It's exactly the same thing. There's no difference at all.
And why do you think that people are like our comments are thinking that it seems to me that they're thinking that is a different thing? Why would they think, do you see any reason why you would see that as being different than it just being a man?
No, and I feel like even for women, it could probably be more intense because we're more emotional. So if we are cheating or being unfaithful, it'll maybe show up easier because we're so, intuitive and emotional. A man could probably brush it off, but it'll catch up with him eventually. But for women, it's definitely a lot intense.
Like we said, I really and truly believe that what you do in the dark eventually is going to come to the light. But let me give you a simple little example of when I had to turn a client away. I had a client that came in and he brought his girlfriend with him. He was pre-approved. She wasn't on the loan. We started looking for homes. We went out several times. Together. I had these people in the car with me. I thought I knew them very well. And then one day at one of the homes that I was showing, a woman comes barging up to the door because I always lock the door behind me when I show houses and is banging on the door. And she says, I know you're in there. And I'm like, now what do I do? So I'm like, excuse me, I'm showing the house. I'm sorry, maybe you have the wrong house. And I come outside. Then all of a sudden, her husband, who was my client, came running out of the house saying, how did you find me? This man was buying a house with his girlfriend, planning and telling the girlfriend that he was going to have a divorce. I could not be a part of that. I could not be a part of that. The wife thought that I knew. I had to make it very clear that I did not know. I don't get in people's business like that. However, for me, that was a deal breaker. My commission on that house would have been very large. But do I want that blood on my hands? No, I don't. So I told him that he had to find another agent because I wouldn't be participating in this lie. Now, Marlo, do you think that I was wrong in that case?
I don't. And I think that what the commenters are speaking to is the perceived double standard between men and women, right? But I think that it doesn't matter who it is. There was a time when I was much younger, in my 20s, I hang with women who had loose morals, right? I ran around with women who were not moving in a way that was a good reflection on who I wanted to be. And eventually I had to get myself away from them. I can't change them, right? I can't make you moral. I can't make you adopt my principles or my standards or my integrity. But what I can do is I can lean into those things and I can make a pivot. And you and I don't have to be friends. You and I don't have to do business. So I think as we talk about this, like, obviously there's no friends in capitalism, right? So if you into this, you trying to get to this money, people gonna do what they want to do. But I think that what we're talking about is tying who you are as a person to another person that's not necessarily moving righteously, right? And so I think that that's really what it is. It's about, do you want your name associated with this person's name? You know, it's a question of, will you do anything for money? How far will you go for money? And so in your case, Lala, I don't think that you were wrong. In the case of David Banner, I don't think that he's wrong for learning that. I want to clarify. He said he learned this from his mentor. This is what his mentor said. And I don't know if he's adopted it because I haven't seen the whole interview, but this is what he was told by his mentor, and it started his wheels turning. And I think it's important, right? Who do you want to be associated with? All these people who wanted to be associated with Diddy in business don't want to be associated with the freak offs. And many of them probably are not. People probably were just getting money with him, being colleagues. From what we've heard in testimony, everybody wasn't at the freak offs. Everybody wasn't having these 4 days of wild, crazy, drug-induced sex. But it has nothing to do with public perception. It has nothing to do with your business dealings and how that can get on you because you've been photographed with this person 300 times. You've been on 16 songs with this person. You and this person have 4 businesses together. You and this person have built a real estate empire together. Whatever the case may be, it really is about brand alignment. And it's about, do I want my personal brand, and which is associated with my business brand, to be associated with this person who beats his wife, who cheats on his wife, who doesn't take care of his kids, who's got kids all over the planet? Is that what you want? That's what this is a question of. It ain't a question of capitalism because you can get money with whoever you want. Who do you want to be paired with in the public eye? Who do you want the public eye to say is your best friend when they go to court for embezzling money from little children? That's the question.
I think that's a very serious question because, as I said in my story, this wife thought that I knew. I could not carry that in my heart. So I made it a point to have a coffee date with her to let her know, no, ma'am, I have never known that. And to let her know that I'm sorry, I will not be able to help him purchase a home on this. Whatever you guys decide to do is whatever you guys decide to do. But my name is Bennett and I ain't in it. Okay. So let's check out another video and let's get back into the conversation.
Like, if I cheat on my wife, you can't trust me. You shouldn't trust me to do business with you because I can't even be trusted with the woman I'm sleeping with every night.
But what if you value a relationship differently than you manage a business or something like that? What if you look
See,
at
now that's nah. If that woman knows what the man values, what's his priorities, you know, mine's are God, wife, family, you know, and then business. That's how my values is. So she agreed to my term. It's like terms and conditions on Instagram. You feel me?
Right.
You got to agree to people's terms and conditions. So if your lady know like shit, the business come first. She either got to show you why she need to come before the business,
or she got to settle in that position. You're going to go through the fucking trials, dog. That's the big thing. You're going to go through the trials. But it's really just keeping in mind, like, dude, you worth going through all this shit. You feel me? So if you ain't got somebody worth it, that's either on your ass for not choosing good enough, or that's on shit, your ass for agreeing to be with her. Like,
I think he has some very valid points, but looky who has joined us today. It is our Joe Corley, licensed therapist, mental wellness coach, and educator. Now, listen, Joe, you know the topic today is David Banner won't do business with men who cheat on their wives. Now, some people in the beginning of our show was thinking, well, what if it's a woman? Well, I think we've established that we don't care who it is. Anybody in that would you be doing business with them knowing that, right? Anonymous person, we're not going there. That has nothing to do with what we just said. And neither does Cassie, y'all. So we're not going there. So, Joe, I actually do want to hear your thoughts on, would you do business with someone who was cheating on their spouse?
I mean, it all depends on the circumstances. Like I feel like a lot of times that there's a bunch of different circumstances that cause infidelity. It's not always about just pure disrespect. Or it's not just about, trying to rack up as many bodies as you can. Sometimes there are circumstances that, cause infidelity that have nothing to do with business, or anybody's ability to do business or to complete an assignment. So it a lot of times I know it's hard for folks to understand, but sometimes infidelity isn't always about character.
Mm. Ooh, Joe, I know you a therapist, but I highly disagree, because I truly believe that whatever you're doing on the side is how you truly live your life, regardless of the circumstance. I think that really speaks to your character, and I'm really curious to know how can you break that down, Joe, to explain that that doesn't necessarily mean that person's character is represented in that. Can you expound on that for me, please?
Yeah, sometimes it's about where a person's emotional growth is. You know what I mean? Sometimes a person is, you know, have not completely just evolved emotionally, doesn't possess the tools to, show up how they need to show up inside of their relationship, or the tools to get out of a relationship when it's time to get out of a relationship. There's just a bunch of circumstances that you can't just generally say, oh, because that person cheats on their wives or that person cheats on their husbands, that they have bad character. It doesn't necessarily mean that that is a bad woman or a bad man. It really is about people possessing the emotional growth or the emotional wellness or the emotional wholeness to do what's necessary in certain situations. Everybody just is not equipped with these things, and I'm saying this from a standpoint of observance. Like I've had these conversations, I've watched these, and I've seen people who come into situations who are not faithful. They're not bad people. They just don't know how to manage. They don't know how to manage. So, and there are some people who just cheat just to be cheating, and if you can decipher the difference, and a lot of times you can, you know what I mean? Like it's different.
Hmm. I'm sorry, I still disagree. I just really do. But Jay Gamble says being in business is a relationship, regardless of the genders of the individuals. Trust is imperative. Business is personal and business. So, hey, Melissa, do you agree or disagree with that? Or do you also agree with Joe?
So I could understand the complexities of it, but I definitely like to just keep it very simple and just focus on the practicality of it. Because if you're married to someone and it's not working out where you have to cheat, you should just get a divorce or separate. But reputation is everything. So once you break it or there's a misunderstanding with business and then personal and there's a mixture, just separate or divorce to avoid the confusion in business.
Yeah, because I can see that also being dragged into business. What if the spouse is all of a sudden coming to your office or contacting your clients, or it could be such a mess. But we're going to take a break. This is a really good conversation. Let's take a break and we'll dive back into this.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
You know what to do. There's your assignment. Listen, it's June. We got so many classes in there. You know, it's going to blow your mind. Do not mess up and not sign up. So go ahead and sign up at flynubianmoneyclub.com. Listen, I have to say, Jay Gamble, I really feel you. It says, if you're weak in your personal life, how can you not be weak in making business decisions? Some people make decisions based on emotions, not stats. Marlo, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell anybody how to think or how to decision make, but I think emotional decision making that's a no for me. I did that when I was young, had very bad outcomes. I've changed that behavior. But I think that, to speak to what Joe was saying, right? When you think about the reasons why people cheat and, not that it's something that could be that you should condone or whatever, but you don't know a person's background, right? Maybe that's all they saw growing up was infidelity. Maybe that's what's in their personal circle, right? So people are just doing what is normal to them. It doesn't change how I feel in terms of business. I think a person that is, all over the place doing things, splitting their focus, like I just feel like it can be detrimental to business, right? I'll say it can be, not it absolutely is. I'm sure that there's some man who's been cheating happily for 40 years and got billions of dollars, right? So it's not an exact science, but I think that it definitely is just an indicator of who that person is, right? And to me, it's really about, I can't control what's happening when my back is turned and when you're out of my sight, but when you are, I want to believe that you are doing the things that need to be done to push everything forward, right? I don't want to believe that you're doing side deals. I don't want to believe that you're selling a third of the business to some random person because I've trusted you with that. I don't want to believe that you're taking money out of the business or funneling money to start your own business, right? I don't want to believe that you have these side thoughts as it relates to our business dealing, or you're going to undercut me, or whatever things happen in business. So I think that's, I'm still where I am, but I do understand that what Joe was saying to the emotional growth part of this, and maybe a person has grown their business mind, but they haven't evolved their emotions to a point where they even see the correlation between cheating on your spouse and doing good business, or cheating on your person and doing good business.
Very, very good thoughts on that. I'm gonna have to think on you, Joe. I'm gonna have to think. My next 24 hours gonna be like, now what did Joe say? So let's check out a couple of stats, because we always like to back up what we talk about with some stats. So just check these out. According to a survey by the Gallup, 62% of Americans say they trust people who show loyalty and integrity in personal relationships, while 34% think these traits also apply to business interactions. That's 62%, y'all. That's pretty high. A 2020 study from the Journal of Business Ethics found that 72% of business professionals believe that personal values significantly influence business decisions. Wow, now we're getting even higher in stats. Research by the National Business Ethics Survey reveals that employees who trust their leaders' ethical conduct are more likely to stay longer at their jobs and report higher job satisfaction. All right, these were some really good stats. Melissa, I'd like to. Oh, we lose Melissa? Those stats are telling. Those numbers are pretty high. Can you tell me what you think about those? Like, what's your opinion on those?
I mean, so numbers don't lie, I still believe that it's going to show up eventually. Reputation is everything. And I see, well, we see, right? Some of the biggest moguls, people that have all this money, they fall because what they're doing behind closed doors, it catches up. So I'm pretty firm on that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I'm
But
firm
you
on
know
that.
what? Our beloved Black Lexicon, who is always here. He's always here. He always is open to our conversations. He said, powerful, entitled men behave like wolves. That is why I agree with what Joe says. Now, Joe, he says that entitled men behave like wolves. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. You're muted.
I would just say, I'm sorry about that. I would just say that, behavior doesn't always equate to identity and character, right? You have to understand the full scope and context of a person's behavior patterns before you start, taking one aspect of their lives and like making moral judgment on it. You know what I mean? Like you have to understand the emotional development of that person, the relational, dynamics of what they honestly believe. And what Melissa said is right. Someone who is in a situation or a marriage and that feels like they have to cheat, they should get a divorce. They should do whatever they do to repair their marriage. If everybody did what they should do, we'd be living in a whole different world, all right? You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that because everybody doesn't even understand why. A lot of people don't even understand why they're doing the things that they're doing. You feel guilt. You know what I mean? Some people feel guilt about the things or the actions that they take. So what do you say about that? What do the patterns say? You know what I mean? That's what we need to do. Do you take full accountability, or do you deflect and throw blame out? Are you working to seek understanding, or are you trying to change? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of different things that you have to take into context before you just boom down on somebody's character because of some action or whatever action that they're or that they're engaging in. You just can't just say blanketly, oh, this person is cheating, so their character is out of whack. It just doesn't work like that.
Oh, who you testing me, Joe? I love you so much, right? But so listen, Marlo, okay. So is there room for forgiveness or second chances when it comes to business dealings and personal ethics? Or, I mean, can we turn the blind eye and think that someone is developing their character a little bit more? I mean, is there room for this?
I like this conversation so much more when Joe was in traffic and he was not gaslighting me into believing something that I don't want to believe. Okay. And that's strictly based on another conversation that Joe and I had entirely different. But I think what Joe said about accountability is important, right? If a person can say, look, I know this look funky, but me and old girl, me and old boy, we ain't in the best shape. This is not the best action that I'm taking, but I assure you, this is just this. And when I figure this out, I'm gonna move in a different way. If a person can be accountable and they can be honest with you about what's going on, if as a person who has a partnership business type deal with them, you go to them and you ask them that, I think everybody is redeemable, right? Unless they don't want to be redeemed. So I think that there's grace available for everybody. I think everybody can change their behavior. I'm a testament of a person who has changed behavior, right? So I know that everybody can, but um, you got to know if that person is gaslighting you, right? Is that person just telling you what they think you want to hear so that you don't press this issue and they could go do what they want to do? Or are they really considering what your concerns are as it relates to the business, as it relates to loyalty and integrity and character and all of these other things that we're talking about, right? So is the person just trying to dead that conversation and keep it moving? Or are they really looking to, you know, get to a place, maybe not right this minute, right? Because I don't control your life, but are they really having meaningful thought within themselves about how to get out of this little situation that they find themselves in? And I think that will speak to how well you feel like you know that person, what, you know, type of relationship y'all actually have. Are y'all really just getting money, or do y'all have, you know, like some type of real bond beyond capitalism where you can make that judgment? And look, if it's just capitalism, don't worry about it. Get your money, and when it's time for it to fall out, hopefully you won't come out with the short end of the stick.
See, that's what I worry about. I don't want to be associated with that. Now, by no means whatsoever do I think that I'm perfect. All of us are learning and growing. I'm not the same person that I was when I was 20 years old, but I've also prided myself on being an honest person, and I kind of wear my heart on the sleeve. I wouldn't be able to carry that guilt of cheating on a spouse into my business. I think people would just know because of how I carry it. And to me, I would probably be wearing it all over my face, right? But Stephanie Starr says, God don't like ugly is true. Do business with integrity and you are/will be golden. Behave contrary to honest, truthful behavior, and you will have to answer for it. It does catch up with you. And I just truly believe that. I mean, I think we all striving to be better. That's a part of our life journey. But if I really truly know that someone is doing something to me that is the core of yourself, the core of, please don't bring your family around me and then expect me to participate in this. That's where I have the problem. So, Joe, I would like for you to address that. Doesn't that put us in a situation that we are forced to be in that we don't want to be in?
If what puts us in a situation that
Like if we know this about our partner and they're still bringing their family and their spouses around, that forces us to be a
it's
part of the pie.
okay, business partners, what you mean? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously, yes, it does make for in a comfortable situation. So, I mean, and you have to make a choice or decision of whether or not you want to be involved with that. You have a choice too. I mean, it's all a choice. You can say, "Look, I don't want to be a part of this, so I'm out of it." Like you said, my name is Bennett and I ain't in it. You can get up out of it, easily. But you know what I mean? You have to make those choices for yourself. You have to make those choices for yourself and decide whether or not what is important to you, what's personal and what is business, and do you want to walk those lines. Now, I mean, we can go down David Banner's discography, and I guarantee you he's done business with a lot of people who have done nefarious things and activities. So him saying this is honestly, kind of like pandering a little bit. I mean, that's kind of crazy for him to say. So I mean, does he walk into rooms and worried about, like you said, like, oh, I got to worry about keeping the lie or I'm going to tell? I mean, does he worry about these type of things? So, I mean, it's all situational, Lala, all of it.
Very, very good thoughts on that because there's a lot of aspects to this. And we're definitely breaking them down. But I still need to know, Melissa, do you think that someone who lacks integrity in their personal life can be successful in business, why or why not? Because a lot of people are saying that, the things that we don't know about them, just because we don't know, does that, I mean, that's still a part of it. Can they be good, successful business people when their lives are in kind of disarray?
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of piggyback on what Joe said as far as like the complexity of the psychological part of it, because some people can be loyal in their business, but then at home is just a mess. And I feel like, because I've seen it before, right? And I have my own past where I would pour myself into, looking professional or showing up for work and my clients and stuff like that. But I know that at home, I don't even sleep good. I don't even eat good. Like just all those levels of just not, doing your due diligence in your personal life. So it can happen. But then again, it will show up. People have heart attacks at work, people pass out, have strokes, all kind of stuff. Because the stress and the imbalanced lifestyle is gonna catch up to you. So you have to go to Joe and get some therapy and get yourself aligned because that's just, you could fake it, fake it till you make it, but trust me. I mean, I see a lot going on out here and health is a serious aspect. It's going to catch up.
Yeah, I believe that I'm a believer that what you do and how you can manifest things into your body. And some of y'all might think that's woo woo, but I've seen it happen way too many times. Trauma turns to cancer or anxiety or things of that nature. So that actually does fall into your whole life. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get back into this conversation. It's a great one. Everybody still put your comments. We love all the comments. We are talking with you. We're having a conversation. So do that and we'll be right back.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
I always like to hit that again. I know we're supposed to be moving on with commercials, but I can't not express to you just how important this is to keep our Black dollars in our Black communities. This is your opportunity to get your name out there where people who are looking for you, I'm looking for you. I no longer shop at Target. I no longer shop at these places that don't want our money. We are making a difference, but that means I have a hole somewhere that I need. Okay. So I need to know what you got out there. Make sure that you send all, don't send no half butt stuff, y'all. We want it all. We want your name. We want your website. We want your email. We want a little bio about you, your telephone number if you want it out there. Put it out there. Think Yellow Pages, baby. Because that's exactly what this is. And all you have to do is send that information into info@realvirtual.net. Now listen, we have one more video and we're going to continue this conversation, but let's check this out.
A very successful businessman said he does not do business with men who cheat on their wife. He said that if you will cheat on your wife and she's the one who you sleep with every night, that definitely in business, you cannot be trusted. The businessman feels that how you do one thing is how you'll do everything. You made vows to love, protect, and honor your wife, and you have broken that. He said that most men who cheat hangs around other men who cheat. And it kind of becomes a silent agreement of mistrust. They can't trust each other. But the one who they trust the most, which is their wives, they trust them at home with the kids, the money, the bills, to take care of the home. They always leave the most loyalist person out of the loop and go hang with men and do business with men that will stab them in the back in a heartbeat. He says that if you lack integrity at home, then you will lack integrity and trust as a businessman. What do y'all think about this? Do you think the businessman is taking it too personally, or could he be on to something? Leave in the comments and tell me what you think.
So we are going to tackle that because that is what this whole conversation has been about. But this is what I want to know. Now, Joe, I'm tapping back into you. So how do we find the balance between business and personal life when it comes to trust and loyalty? Where is the balance?
The balance is in your own values and how you align with your own values and your own boundaries, which you create for yourselves. You know what I mean? If something makes you uncomfortable, and then just don't go with it. You know what I mean? But I mean, oftentimes, like this doesn't even make sense. Like the person you trust the most, you're cheating on the person. You obviously don't trust that person if you're cheating on them. You know what I mean? So it's like that doesn't make sense. You don't feel safe enough to say, like Melissa said, I want to get out of here. I want a divorce. You don't feel safe enough to say these things. Why are you like that? And that's not a criticism. That's a question. That's a real question. You know what I mean? So it's always going to lie within your own values and your own boundaries. That's it. That's all.
I think Deborah says it just like we all have said. We actually say discernment is the key. We can choose who we want to do business with and who not to do business with. Me personally, there was no way that I could have moved forward with this man that I have been taking around with his girlfriend, knowing that now he has a wife who had no idea what was going on and found out. That also put me in danger very easily
There's
because you
probably a
never
little
know how.
connection issue going on.
For me, oh, we're going to lose Melissa. So that was extremely hard for me to go through. That could have gone a very bad way because you never know how people are going to react. She could have come and it could have been a fight. She could have come, been willing to pew pew, right? And I would have been right in the middle. So for me, I would not have been able to continue that business relationship with him because it was just not something that was okay with my own heart. So I'm going to ask you this, Marlo. Should we, as business partners, if you're going to have a business relationship, should you openly discuss values and ethics before you even enter into deals?
I don't think so. I mean, I think values and ethics are so subjective, right? Like what you believe is an ethical line and what I believe is an ethical line could be, opposite sides of a line. Just because people's upbringings are different. Things that I believe are known knowns in terms of right and wrong. I've met people along my life journey and they didn't have that, right? So I think the idea of ethics, I think what Joe said is important. You have boundaries, right? You have your own boundaries that you set in business. If you feel like personal ethics are important, maybe you need to get to know that person pretty well before y'all get into a business situation so that you can kind of feel them out and see if your ethics are aligned. See if the way they're raising their child aligns with yours. See if the way that they treat their spouse aligns with yours. I think that's more important than sitting down and being like, I would love to have an ethical conversation with you right now about morality and integrity. It's like, what? I thought you wanted to get this money, right? So I think that if that's really, really important to you, and that's an important aspect of doing business, then you as the person to whom that is important needs to do your research. You need to do your background work. You need to have your discernment turned on and be paying attention to those small cues before you get into business. But I think, this people can't tell their spouse, I don't want to be with you no more, right? So how you gonna tell somebody that you potentially could make $500,000 in 6 months with that but how are you about cheating? right? It's not practical. So I think that it's more, if that's something that's really important to you, then that's something that you need to watch and observe and pay attention to. And you need to call it out when you see it, not 3 months down the line, not 4 months down the line, so that you can draw your own clear ethical line, because your ethics are for you. And so you could draw your own line and say, hey, I'm not comfortable crossing this line right here. And I think that that tone is more important than, some kind of conversation, because people lie. If he lied to his wife, he gonna lie to you, because that
Yeah,
$500,000 in 6 months sounds really, really good. Or she,
exactly.
sorry, I don't want to be gender biased. He or she or they or them, all the people will lie if they
All
want.
the people, all the people. Because if that's a problem in their personal life, then it will, I still say it will spill over into their business. And that, or even think that it is none of your business. But I actually will tell you, before I got into real estate and I was doing, graphic design and other things like that, I actually had an interview with an older gentleman, and maybe it was the generation at that time, who did in the interview say, listen, I need you to understand that this is a place of business. However, I am also, very careful about who I hire in their personal life. So he asked me some pretty personal questions. Maybe those questions now today wouldn't fly, but I know in the early 90s they did. He did ask me how I felt about marriage, and he felt, he also even asked me about religion, because he was a Christian man. So I didn't see anything wrong with that. And I answered him honestly. I don't think that would fly today, but to each their own. Me personally, I just really truly feel that how you live your life at home is also going to spill into your business. So for me personally, that's something that would make a difference on who I would want to partner with, whether it's $500,000 or not. All money ain't good money to me. And that's just how I feel about it. But we're actually going to start winding down with this and start getting our final thoughts. We have definitely had so many good comments on here. As we wind down with our final thoughts, we want to appreciate everyone who's put their comments in, and this has been a very good conversation. I'm going to start with you, Melissa. What are your final thoughts on this? And make sure you let us know where we also can find you.
So for me, I feel like the biggest thing is like self-awareness, right? Really understanding yourself, what you want out of life and even your relationships, being honest about your expectations with your partner and stuff like that, just to avoid any misunderstanding. Because I mean, some people are just down for the cheating thing and the swinging, or whatever the case is. So just be real about whatever you want. The therapy is huge, again, for our community, right? We have a lot of healing and trauma to heal from, and we have a lot of misconceptions as it comes to, like, morality when it comes to dating and stuff like that. So David Banner setting that boundary, I think, is good because it kind of shakes things up, right? I know some people, right, men and women, might not be happy about what he said, but it definitely, that's his boundaries, that's his standards, and it's reasonable. I agree with that because I mean, I'm not perfect, right? Sometimes your mind might wander, but then it's like, okay, no, what do I really want, right? You have to be able to reevaluate yourself and realign yourself and have standards. So I love it. That's my perspective on it.
And where can we find you on these social media streets?
Yes. So Instagram at Melissa_X017. You can find me on Instagram. And like what I said, I do have my YouTube channel coming up soon. So when that's here, I will be able to provide that too. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So get in early. Go ahead and find her on Instagram so she can let you know when she's up and running on the U's and the tubes. All right,
Mhm.
Marlo, what is your final thoughts and where can we find you?
Like I say week after week, do what's best for you, right? Do what's best for David Banner's mentor might not be best for you. Maybe you don't care about that. Maybe you're a cheater yourself, so that doesn't matter. but do what is best for you in terms of your values, your ethics, your principles. Don't compromise them. At the end of the day, you got to look in the mirror at you. You got to see the reflection. And will you avoid it because you know you out here moving kind of crazy and scandalous? I don't know. It's up to you to decide because again, those are your, you know, your principles and your level of righteousness if you are even into that sort of thing. If you're looking for me, or you can find me on the Instagram, you see there my IG handle is over Marlo. But then also you can hit me up at the Marlo Group if you are looking to align your brands, if you are looking to get your social media and your website presence to be doing the same thing, talking the same thing, and have people to find you without them saying you're a cheater and you're a liar and you don't do good business. Come and holler at me so that we can do good business together. And I won't ask you about your moral integrity and don't ask about mine. But I share it here every week so you kind of get a picture of who I am.
I absolutely love it. Listen, you got to be found. There's a lot of people out here. So the SEO, Marlo's got this down. You want to make sure that you follow her and make sure that you go to her website so that you can be up on point as well. Before we move on to you, Joe, I want to answer a question from one of our viewers. They wanted to know if our reminder texts go out every day. Yes, they are still going out right that. So if yours isn't, you may want to try to sign up again so maybe you don't miss that. Anonymous says that they need to start a new keeping it real podcast. Bro, you're in the wrong place if you keep coming here, sweetie. If you want to be anonymous, be anonymous. But how you gonna have a podcast if you don't even want to show who you are? We love you, but hey, we do keep it here real here. We just don't probably agree with you all the time.
Keep it real in the shadows, Anonymous. We love it. Keep it real in the shadows, brother.
Keep it real in the shadows. And Stephanie, thank you so much for your beautiful comments. You know, I love you very much. Joe, I saved you for last, my love, because I really do want to hear your final thoughts. And please make sure you let us know where we can find you because, you know, I'm feeling like I'm going to need to lay on your couch after this. So what are your final thoughts?
I'm just gonna say, as a therapist, I've learned that behavior doesn't always tell the whole story about who a person is. So people cheat, people lie, people mess up, and they shouldn't do those things. But those moments are destructive and painful, yes, but they don't always define a person's entire character. And sometimes it's trauma related, it's unhealed wounds, it's basically survival patterns that haven't been unlearned. So it's not always a lack of morality or love. It's just you just have to be careful with this type of stuff. You don't but I understand people's strong feelings about it, and I'm not discounting anybody, but just we just have to sometimes separate judgment and from curiosity and shame and from accountability, so we can hold people responsible for whatever actions and still leave room for the possibility that they are not terrible people, and there's room for growth and maturity and the ability to change. You know what I mean? So because a character is not about never messing up. That doesn't make you, if you're perfect. Do we have to be perfect? I mean, that's not how that works. It's about how you respond when you mess up. That's how you can determine whether or not you want to do business with somebody. How they're responding to the mistakes that they're making, not just throwing them away because they made some mistakes. So that's all. And find me at Real You Consulting all.com. All my socials is out there on that website, and you can tap in on Tuesdays to Vulnerability is the New Sexy, and join the conversations.
Absolutely love that. Guys, make sure that you do the podcast. It's really, really good content. And listen, whether you believe in therapy or not, we have people who don't. I do. If you do and you need some help, this is who you want to go to. Because I know Joe has a good heart. Joe makes us think, and he brings up very valid points. And I want him to know that I love him very much. Even though I disagreed with you a lot today, I still will be thinking about what you said. And listen, before I go into my final thoughts, y'all know how I feel. I love to shout people out because we wouldn't have a show if you were not here. So Anonymous, we thank you for being here. Black Lexicon, Dr. Vibe, Jay Gamble, Verlissa, Deborah, Stephanie Starr, Bart. We have so many people, Deborah, that come every single day. And we love you and we thank you. We thank you so much for being here. So, this is what Lala has to say. You're going to have to do what you need to do in your life, but it will be up to me to set the boundaries in my business on if I would like to continue to do business with you or not. I truly feel that the way you do things in the shadows is going to come to light in our business. And that's my prerogative. This is how I set boundaries for Lala. I've actually worked with people who have done things like this, and it's never turned out good in business. And it came out later and it turned around to bite them in the butt. And actually, I have a really good friend who lost half of his business once people found out that's what he had done. So listen, for me, it's my boundary, what's okay for me and what's not. So that's the best we could do, is to do our own discernment, right? And you can find me at www.laurakey.net. I have an awesome class getting ready to start, a 21-day course worth $2,000 that is on sale now for you to help you learn to live stream. Hey, Anonymous, you said you want this. You best sign up. All right, listen, that's on my website as well, as long as some other free things there too. So we want to say thank you so much for joining us today. We have had a really great conversation. Thank you for joining us as we explore the importance of personal loyalty and professional success. Now, David Banner's statement raises a lot of serious questions about integrity, trust, and how personal ethics can influence the business world. Whether in relationships or in business, loyalty and integrity does matter. So, how do we protect our own business dealings while staying true to our personal values? The answer is in how we navigate these complex spaces. So until next time, which will be tomorrow at 1 p.m., we're here Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to keep your values high and your trust a little stronger. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. Bye.